welcome to Uccello's for today's media luncheon. Our players are Heath Parling and Jack Sauber with head coach Matt Mitchell. Coach, if you can talk about the Azusa Pacific game, and then we'll roll into Ohio Dominican, the home opener, which is a blackout.
Yeah, obviously a tough loss on the road to Azusa Pacific. Got to give them a lot of credit. Their team in general, they had some opportunities. They took advantage of their opportunities and won the game. I think Terrell Watson was as advertised, was very difficult. Tough back that really got stronger as the game went on. So it's a team loss. Defensively, we played well for the most part, played well for about 3.5 quarters. I thought we were able to get some penetration. We had a lot, double-digit tackle for loss on third down. We did a great job of getting off the field on third down and, really set up some field position. I thought we played physical. We'd not been as physical, in previous years. I thought this defensive line and our linebackers and every play played very physical up front, and did a good job containing a good running back and put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And we forced 3 turnovers. Matt Judon had a sack fumble. Brad Horling had a pick, and then Marquez Goldman also had a pick. And a lot of those picks were a result of pressure that we got on the quarterback. Disappointing defensively. We had 2 sudden change opportunities post offensive turnovers. Those were the 2 scores came as a result of those. We had a sack fumble on Heath, and they got the ball, and we held them to a field goal attempt. We had a roughing the kicker penalty, which gave them new life and gave up a touchdown there. And then off the interception, we got to take the field. They got the ball on the 24-yard line. You got to take the field with the mentality. You got to hold them to a field goal attempt, but we did not. We gave up a touchdown. So our defense wasn't very good in sudden change opportunities. And then obviously we weren't very good in overtime, both overtime periods. They put the ball on the 25. They did not attempt a single forward pass and ran the ball right at us. And, he, to his credit, Terrell Watson's credit, he had 42 carries and was breaking a lot more tackles and was a lot more physical than we were at the end of the game. But, our defense for 3.5 quarters gave our team a chance to win the game. But I've also been in these games where if one side of the ball is struggling, the other side of the ball's got to pick them up, and our defense didn't pick our team up as well as it needed to. Offensively, everything that we kind of value in our program, we didn't do very well. We place a high premium on ball security. Obviously, the second half, we turned the ball over a lot. And even our ball security when we did not turn the ball over wasn't great. We didn't generate a whole lot of big plays. We had basically 2 big plays, and those both resulted in us getting a touchdown. We didn't run the ball as effectively as we need to run the ball. And, we take value and pride in our execution. We didn't execute as well as we wanted to. So, we don't get wrapped up in statistics as much as possessions. And we certainly did not take advantage of our possessions in that game. We had 5 possessions inside the 50-yard line. 6 possessions inside the 50-yard line and generated a net 3 points. And we just, we can't. When you have that great a field position, it was a field position game in the first half. You can't allow that to happen. It's a multitude of issues. In the first half we had some penalties, both players and coaches. Head coach can't get a penalty arguing with an official. That hurts our team. And we've got holding penalties that occur. That hurts our offense. The second half, obviously turnovers are more of a problem. We've got a first down run, turn the ball over. We got a first down pass, turn the ball over. A lot of opportunities to put ourselves in better position to score points are killing us with turnovers and penalties and poor execution. Special teams wise, I thought our punt team was really an extension of our defense and helped us out the whole day. We averaged close to 50 yards in net punt. That's very good and really helped our defense out quite a bit. Our kickoff coverage was good. Our punt return team could have been better, but at the end of the day, we get a big punt return by Matt Williams that puts us first and 10 on the 24-yard line. And then our X-point field goal. Skipper sets two kicks, 40-yarders, which are career longs, but when we need the game-winning field goal, with less than 4 minutes left, his plant leg slips and he pulls it to the left, and we don't generate that. So, you look at the special teams, it's kind of the same theme a little bit. A lot of good things, but some really critical errors at times. We had a block in the back penalty on one of our redshirt freshmen on punt return, which hurt us, and just a critical error here or there on special teams, just like we had critical errors on the other 2 phases It's good teams don't do those type of things. So we lost. We deserved to lose based on our performance, coaches and players. Got back, watched the tape, took a pretty critical evaluation, and put that one to bed, and now we're on to Ohio Dominican. So we'll get back to work here on Monday, and told our team we need to get some bounce in our steps, some energy. We got to attack our preparation for this game because we have, another high-caliber opponent coming in here. They won the league last year. They're undefeated. They're the GLIAC Conference champs. They had a first-round bye into the playoffs. They have a large number of guys coming back. Mark Miller is their quarterback. He's very efficient. He's very competitive. He's a good football player. Their running back, Brandon Schoen, came in here 2 years ago as a freshman, had some success against us. They got 3 all-conference wideouts on the outside. A couple of those all-conference wideouts hurt us in the return game last year. They do a great job of making you defend 53 and a third wide, and both with the run game and also the quick throws and the things that they do. And they put a lot of pressure on your defense. Obviously, as was evidenced by last year's game. Defensively, they return a lot of people. Their 2 defensive ends are long, lean, good pass rushers. Their 3 backers, their outside linebacker of the field is a great player. He was a GLIAC Player of the Week last week. And they've got a lot of guys back from a defense that stifled us last year. And then special teams, I already talked about that. They had a kickoff return for a touchdown, punt return for a touchdown. So it's a good football team. There's a reason they'll probably be, I have no idea with rankings, don't look at it, but I'm sure they'll be in the top 10 and won our league last year. So we don't have time to sulk or hang our heads based on our loss last week. We got to get back to work. And I fully anticipate, given the people that we have in that building, coaches and players, that we'll get back out there today and have some energy, and we'll start our preparation against a very good team that's coming in here on Saturday.
Matt, in the running game last week, you averaged about 3 yards a carry. Take away the sacks, and it's about 2 yards a carry. Can you explain what happened on the offensive line and ways that you've addressed it since?
Well, again, when you look at the running game, the shots that Heath took, and you see on TV, and then you look at the lack of production in the running game, everybody wants us to throw the O-line under the bus. And it's a combination of things in terms of protecting the quarterback and running the ball. Certainly the offensive line is a critical piece of that, but you got to start looking at, in the pass protection of things, we had some busts when it comes to our running backs in protection. Heath made some errors in protection too. In the running game, when you look at how we run the ball, our tight ends were very involved in that, and there were times where we didn't get production out of our tight ends. We have a 3rd and 1 with a chance to win the game, and we have a tight end that cuts loose a guy, and we get a holding penalty, which backs us up. So it's a complete group effort, and if you're going to get explosive plays in the run game, you have to have great perimeter blocking. And there was times where we didn't have great perimeter blocking on the outside in the run game too. So it's not just the offensive line, and our protection issues and our run game issues are not just pinned on one specific unit. It's a complete thing. It's coaches too, putting our players in good positions to run the ball. It's backs sticking with the plan and not bouncing things and trying to cut things back and do too much on their own, and having poor ball security when they do that. So there's a lot of factors that go into our lack of running production beyond just the offensive line. And we have, in my opinion, we have 1 new starter up there. So we've got 4 of the 5 guys have played in football games at Grand Valley. So we've got to get better performance by everyone on our offense when it comes to running the ball.
Having the game on Thursday, one of the things that you look forward to is that it gave you a little bit extra time for Ohio Dominican. By losing this game, did you have to go back a little bit more and spend more time with that before you could address Ohio Dominican?
I don't think so. In fact, had we won that game 16-13, let's say we make the field goal, I don't think it would have changed a single thing the way we approached it with our players on Saturday. It would not have approached it. I mean, we would have, I'm sure these 2 guys will back me up because of their experiences in our program, but we would have not approached, if we had gotten out of there with a win, we'd still look back on the mistakes we made, and our approach would have been no different in the way that we did things. So we spent a lot of time on Saturday, as we would, like our off day per NCAA rules is Monday typically, but with this different week, we came in on Saturday. We spent a lot of time looking at special teams tape, offense, defense, and really pointing out things and taking a critical look at the stuff that we got to clean up. And then we're moving on. We're putting that thing to bed. I mean, that game is over. We lost our opportunity to win that game, and so now we can't let that game affect us from just an overall attitude and the way we approach things moving forward. So the fact that we lost that game, it doesn't change our approach and how we go about our business in terms of our schedule for Ohio Dominican.
Coach, let's go to Ohio Dominican for a second. Last year, obviously, you had a really disappointing game with them, and it was one you had to recover from. Does that game get brought up this week? Do you use that to get ready for this one?
Well, I'm sure, we're not a big revenge factor crew. I mean, that's not really what we talk about. We'll go back and look at the tape and look at what they did to us, offense and defense and special teams, from a strategic standpoint, and evaluate that. I think we'll take a look and show our players, so a lot of those guys that are out there are back, and kind of take a look at some of those things. So we'll look at the tape. But from trying to post a score and look at a revenge standpoint, that's not really who we are. We're more about controlling what we create, and focusing on the process of what can we do to play to our potential. We didn't play to our potential, last year in that game, and so what can we do to play our potential this year? And that's more of, I guess, the point of looking at that film as opposed to anything else.
All right. So just as far as the lineups go, do you expect to see any changes? Maybe like an update on Hogan or any of the other guys, or any lineup changes this week at all?
Yeah. DJ is still undecided. I'm not sure, exactly what his status will be yet. It's Monday. I'm not sure what his status will be on Saturday. From the game, we had Christian Harris tore his ACL, so he's done for the year. David Talley broke his hand. So he's out. And I think probably from the game itself, that's it. The week prior to the preparation, Devin McKissick dislocated his wrist and had a bad fracture in his arm, so he's done for the year. So basically our guys are done for the year. It would be Zach Jolly, Christian Harris, Devin McKissick, Robbie Peck tore his ACL. So those would be our season-ending injuries. The rest of the guys are kind of on a day-to-day basis, and we'll know more about availability as we get further in the week. Kirk Spencer, he's fine.
Heath, can you talk a little bit about the development of Contre Miskel? He was one of the guys who had performed very well in camp, and it seemed like in the first game that he was a heavy target.
Did you say Keontre?
Yeah.
I didn't hear. All right. Yeah, he had a good game for us. Like you said, he had a good camp. We needed him to make some plays down there in the red zone, and he did. He came up with our only touchdown catch of the day. Big play. We're going to need him to keep making plays for us. You lose a guy like Brandon Green last year, who was kind of our deep threat, take the top off the defense guy. Keontre might have to be that guy. Some other guys might have to be that guy. So had a good game one, I'd say. Probably, he'd say that he could clean some things up, I'm sure, as we all could, obviously, on offense. But we're going to need him to keep improving. We all need to keep improving and hopefully make some strides.
You were saying it, we've talked about this a number of times, but you look for the open guy. When you have some different receivers, you have Jamie Potts coming back, who's looked to as number one guy, and you have Miskel and you have Pitts. How does that work within, your mindset when you're going into a game plan for who you're throwing to?
I mean, everything's a week-by-week basis. Like you said, our game plan. Those three guys you mentioned, I have a lot of confidence in all those guys. They all have different skill sets. Keontre's a little faster. Daryl's a little bit more of a above, you can go up and get the ball, and then Potts kind of a versatile guy. But still, I'm going to throw it to the open guy. Whoever my read says I should throw the ball to, that's where I'm going to go. Going into this week with a big, fast, physical defense, fast secondary that ODU has. It's going to be tough. We're going to need to get some things schemed up. We're going to need to make some plays. We're going to need to play a lot better at quarterback and, hopefully score some more points than we did on Thursday, that's for sure.
Yeah, and just as far as the offensive line goes, I know the coach is just saying it's kind of a team effort, running backs, tight ends too. I mean, what can you do to kind of help these guys along? And I guess just talk about the O-line a little bit and what you expect to see this week.
Well, I need to get them in the right protections first and foremost. I don't know how many sacks we gave up, but I'd say, good 75 to 80% of those sacks were on me. If you don't know anything about football, you don't understand that, but not saying that you guys don't, you do, but we weren't in the right protections. That comes down to me pre-snap. I didn't see some coverages, some pressures, some stuff on tape. They did some stuff different. ODU's got to do some stuff different. Need to do a better job managing that, adjusting that throughout the game, making adjustments. I have confidence in those guys. They're good players. They're all good players. They're tough guys. I need to get them in the right looks. That's on me. So, like Coach Mitchell said, to throw those guys under the bus, that would be one of the stupidest things you could do. It's just, it wasn't their fault. When we were unprotected, it was on me. So we're going to fix that and guarantee you that will get cleaned up and, won't happen again. So.
Jack, this question is for you. You're a senior now. You've been around. How do you think this team and this group that you've gone through camp with and stuff will respond, just emotionally and everything?
Right. Yeah, I think we have a lot of seniors, obviously, more than usual, and not just that, but we have some good leaders that are underclassmen as well, and a lot of guys that have played and been through tough seasons where we've lost some games that kind of similar to this last game where we just kind of didn't show up and play to our potential, and we've had to bounce back from things like that before, and I think there's a lot of guys in our locker room that understand what it takes and how we need to refocus and just really get to work so that we can bounce back from it and keep working towards the goals that we have for this year. So I think we have the right guys to do that, and we just got to get to work and do it now at this point.
Okay, thanks, guys. That will conclude today's media luncheon.